Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to the Egotist Tuesdays. We are recording this episode on Monday for your listening pleasure. I am accompanied by my guests, not my guests, my very good friends, Kay and
Yes.
Kool-Aid.
Yes, hello.
Being demoted, Kay. We've been demoted.
Yeah, I've been demoted already. How is
I'm
everyone?
doing pretty good. A little tired. I just woke up a little bit ago. How are you guys doing?
Oh, me too, bro.
Doing
Like,
pretty
I'm
great.
having a coffee, eating a banana, just going on Twitter and looking at all this bullshit going on around the world.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Kool-Aid?
Anybody here been keeping up to date with it? Hey, I'm feeling brilliant. I'm loving everything that's going on in America. The people are fed up, and I fuck with
I
it.
do agree with that. The people are fed up, and there is anarchy in the streets, basically, at this point, from what I've seen.
I mean, it's just chaos all over the place, you know, and it's a shame that America has come to this.
So anyway, if you guys have been living under a rock, the thing we are obviously talking about is the George Floyd protests that are not only in America in every major city right now, but they've even actually spilled over into other countries, from what I've seen.
Yeah, there has
Mhm.
been
Got a
riots
couple
in London, protests in Belgium, Germany. I mean,
Yeah.
what has happened is very bad. You know, like someone died while being recorded by the police. Like
He didn't die. He
he
was
was
murdered.
murdered.
He was murdered by a police officer.
Disgusting.
People are pissed
Murdered
off.
in cold blood, might I add. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't
You know what I don't get, guys? I don't get how, like, you can kneel on someone's neck for 9 minutes, and them saying I can't breathe. Are you not like listening to them or acknowledging people on the street? Like, what is going through your mind?
I mean, there were about what, 3 or 4 other police officers with him as well. Nobody intervened. As a police officer, you're also a first responder. Your job is literally to like save people's lives. If they say they can't breathe, save them.
Exactly.
They didn't do that. 3 other people are just as culpable for this shit as the one who was on his neck. So fuck all for him.
Yeah, and the thing I noticed, and that somebody brought up on an internet forum that I was reading, is the EMTs didn't even try to resuscitate or anything like that. They kind of just took his body away.
Yeah, they slumped him onto the they
like
slumped
he
him
was
onto
nothing,
the
dude.
stretcher.
Like he was just a dead dog on the street. It's disgusting.
This is nothing new. This is nothing new at all. And what I find the funniest part is that a lot of these celebrities, such as Bad Baby, that little child, 16-year-old, whatever she is, she's been recently like blackfacing herself, like tanning to try and look black or whatever.
Disgusting.
And she's been curling her hair and shit, and people have been calling her out on it. And since this stuff has happened, there's been radio silence from her. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've also noticed is that a lot of celebrities have been dead silent about the issue. Like, some haven't even bothered to put out like a tweet about
None
it.
of them have spoke out, and the people that have done something, they like the celebrity that pissed me off the most that I saw was Jake Paul, because he was just going out looting for no reason. Like he literally doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit about anyone, and he's
It's anything for
and he's
content,
just doing
right?
it. Yeah,
I mean, him and his
he's doing
brother.
it for attention.
No.
Well, I would say calling Logan Paul a celebrity is quite the stretch by any means.
Well,
he's an internet star.
he's an influencer, and I did say Jake Paul, Clem.
Jake Paul. I can't
Yes.
tell the two dickheads apart, honestly.
Oh,
Both
fair
of them are
enough.
like, yeah, the same shit.
They are exactly,
One's the clone of the other at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're exactly the same to me, just egotistical assholes.
Should get him on the podcast.
You know,
Should
they would
get him on the
probably
podcast.
make a
fifth
really
label.
good fit.
Guys, wait until episode 150. We'll have Jake Paul on here.
And then we will replay
We
these
even want
clips.
Jake Paul on
We
there.
will replay these clips of us talking shit and see what he thinks.
Yes.
Let's say this podcast was to take off. Would we even want Jake Paul?
I
on
don't
there?
think so.
Would you even want Logan
I mean, the
Paul on
only
there? Is it
reason I
worth the
would
money?
want Jake Paul and Logan Paul on here is just to roast them. And that's basically it. Well,
I don't know, man. Logan Paul's a pretty good boxer. You see his record?
yeah, man.
It's nuts,
One,
man.
bro. So impressive.
What is he? 1 draw, 1 loss? That's nuts.
That's actually
craziness.
insane right there. That is legendary stuff. He will be written down in the halls with Mike Tyson and crew.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, back to what's going on in America, Clem. You're stationed up in Philadelphia, right? Or around the area.
Just outside
And now it's just getting
Philadelphia.
pretty wild. Yeah, it's just getting pretty wild around there, man. I'm seeing a lot of tweets, fires. People are losing their minds out there.
Yeah, so I'm in a excuse me. I'm in a small town outside of Philadelphia. I'm residing in Norristown, and there is a bit of protesting going on here. There was a couple of fires the other night, but nothing's gotten too out of hand over here where I am actually residing. But as far as Philly goes, which is 20 minutes away from where I live, you cannot get into the city right now.
Is it all locked down?
It is completely locked down. You cannot get in and you cannot get out. And they've actually given everybody in the city a 6 p.m. curfew.
6 p.m. You can't go out like after 6 p.m.
No, you cannot. And a lot of businesses are actually closing down service at 3 p.m. in the city of Philadelphia. And they are deploying the National Guard as we speak about this topic. It's currently happening right now.
That is crazy.
2020's been a fucking movie, huh? I mean, honestly, what is it? First month we lost fucking Kobe. It's a big fucking deal. Then directly into coronavirus. I'm sure a lot of other small shit happens that I'm missing out, but straight into pretty much the coronavirus in Asia and shit like that. Then it came over here to Europe, then America, and then directly into this shit. Country's fucking burning down. Everything's going haywire.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 has been a hell of a year, and something that not a lot of people speak on anymore is that we actually almost went to war in January.
Yep, with Iran.
With who? Oh, okay.
I remember that. Remember when they shot down that commercial plane that killed everyone?
Oh, with the Canadians?
Yeah.
Was it Canadians?
It was Canadians.
And they shot it down thinking that it was like a US retaliation. And then they said it was an accident. But how can you accidentally shoot down a commercial
I mean,
flight?
it was obviously not an accident. They know what they were doing.
It was disgusting. All them innocent people that died just because of politics.
That's the art of war, baby. Disposable.
Yeah, I mean, war is just disgusting, and it seems like more and more every day that human life is just becoming very disposable for any type of cause.
I mean, I hope people start to realise and take action because of all the corruption going out in the world right now. I think people are starting to open their eyes.
Well, yeah, man, that's why there's major riots in just about every major city in America right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually insane. Who knows what is going to happen next, because it just keeps escalating at this point. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if things keep going the way they're going, if the entire country just goes under martial law.
Well, I hope it brings change to the system.
I don't know about that.
But
we've got a Donald Trump in office. When the looting starts, the shooting starts, he takes the side of the police. There's no chance anything's gonna change. Yeah, I mean, it's all good, optics wise, to riot and shit, and hopefully stuff changes. Yeah. But you're gonna need an immense amount of pressure, because there is still half of a country that isn't on the side of the protesters.
That is very true.
And we're forgetting about that. We're kind of looking at what we can see, but what we can't see is just as important, right? Because getting legislation through and votes. Yeah, we need them.
Yeah,
we need them to vote, and they won't vote for us, on our side. So,
I've been seeing on the internet. I've been seeing on the internet, and I saw this. I saw a very, very disgusting picture. So it was this white redneck, and he's sitting up on some post on his front yard in one of the neighborhoods that are outside of the riots, and he actually put electronic goods on his lawn. And he's basically baiting people into coming and stealing these goods off of his property and shooting them.
Pretty sure.
Well, he's doing that on purpose.
I don't know if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
People have done that before. I'm pretty sure people went into an inner city or whatever and left Nikes in the back of a van or whatever and left it open or whatever. And they started shitting on all the inner city kids who started taking the shoes. I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe that's not what happened, but I'm pretty sure something like that happened.
So they're basically honeypotting people.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. People on the right were going wild.
And then in the comments of the picture I saw, I actually saw somebody unironically quoting Donald Trump saying, "They start the looting, we start the shooting." Unironically said that. They meant it. They are quoting that, and they agree with what he said about shooting innocent protesters down in the street.
I mean,
this is no surprise, right? I mean, this is how it goes. I mean, even people are overlooking massive parts of this. It's multifaceted now. Looters, for the most part, a lot of the looters are people who are of lower income. These people need some of the shit that they're looting. You're seeing people come out with some pretty retarded shit, right? They're coming out with washing detergent I've seen and stuff like that. And while I agree, maybe the best way of going about things isn't just ransacking stores. I mean, there seems to be a problem, right? in those sort of areas that they need to loot that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. They can't afford it.
Otherwise, they wouldn't loot necessities. They would just loot expensive shit. But you know,
Mhm.
they're looting stuff they actually need.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that it's kind of a economic problem that we've put them in a situation where they need to like loot these goods. But then you also look at the flip side of it, and you see like these white kids who are probably from out of town, and mommy and daddy pays for everything, and they're still looting. And I'm just
Yeah,
wondering
see, that's
why.
just being a spoiled little brat at the end of the day. And that's just bad parenting as well. Like, if you're allowing your kid to go out and loot, even though you give them everything, then it just shows how you raised them, to be honest.
In a lot of cases too, there are people like coming from out of town, like white kids or whatever, and I'm sure like there are black kids doing it too, obviously. But, like there are white kids coming into like fucking black areas where people are protesting, and they're burning down black-owned businesses,
Yeah, I've
like
seen that on the
barbershops
news.
and
That's
stuff like
fucked
that.
up.
Like you're coming over just to wreck the stores of the people you're trying to help. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and if you're coming out of town, I mean, you're coming into somebody else's city, town, neighborhood, whatever it may be, and you're destroying it, and it's all good to, think you're fighting for a cause, and maybe your intentions are good, but you get to go back to wherever you are from and crawl into your bed in your safe house in a neighborhood that is not on fire right now.
Yep, that is completely true.
And it just seems a little bit ass backwards to me.
I mean,
But-
I just don't think people take into consideration like how other people are affected by this. I just think people are closed-minded about it.
I mean, people are pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Ultimately, that's what it. Like, I want to shit on the looters and stuff like that, but a lot of the people who are looting are genuinely pissed off and doing it for like, whether you could justify it, whether or not you want to justify it, they're doing it for the right reasons. Like, they're fucking pissed off. They watched a video of a black guy getting murdered
Yeah.
in the streets. That police officer had no regard for his life, and the way they slumped him onto the stretcher afterwards was like he wasn't even human. And as like somebody who's half black, right? This is like something that you see.
Yeah.
It's something you experience. This is like a thing.
Exactly.
Like we knew this was a thing, and now everyone else is seeing this is a thing, and they're pissed off. They're joining us now. Everybody's pissed off about this, and if you're not pissed off about it, you're a racist piece of shit. Like that just seems to be how it is. If you're literally not pissed off about what you see on that video, you're like you're not paying attention.
I mean, that video, I'm pretty sure everyone witnessed someone die to the hands of a police officer. Everyone should be pissed.
It was
And
a
everyone
slow
that
death.
isn't pissed
It was-
is a racist.
Yeah, it was a preventable
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
For 8 minutes or something, it was preventable. At any moment, you could have just got off, right? And then whatever you had to do, administer any sort of medical aid, you didn't.
And
It was slow.
it was over such a small matter too that this arrest even started to take
Yeah,
place.
wasn't it
I mean,
like forgery?
Yeah, but the first couple of days we weren't really sure. Like they said, it was some sort of like forgery fraud. He was trying to pay for something with a counterfeit $20 bill.
Oh, wow.
That
And,
is
and
why.
the
that was
police
it.
retaliated like that towards him. That's ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what is going through the officer's mind when they do that to a human being. It's just downright racism. It's disgusting.
And the store owner has even come out and publicly said that he regrets calling the police.
Yeah, the police are so corrupt. I mean, America has everything that's coming to them. To be honest, they deserve everything that's coming to them. Whether it be burning down buildings, fighting the police, like the protesters. I think there should be more protests.
I mean, the pressure's working.
Yeah,
The amount of like people who are onto this, the pressure is working. People's eyes are being open. It's like now a worldwide, like you said, issue. Like everybody's in on this. There are protests going on all around the world. People are standing, standing up for the wrongs that happen to black people in America every single day.
Yeah.
And it happens around the world, but like this is obviously about America. Every single day, people are like finally applying the sort of pressure that needs to be applied.
Exactly.
We have the president tweeting about it. He's mad.
Yeah.
He got one of his tweets
flagged.
sort of flagged
Yeah.
or whatever.
Flagged for
He's
inciting
pissed.
violence, actually, because it was the tweet where he said,
Yeah, looting stars, shooting stars.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
shit. And
Yeah, he's pissed. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's fucking hilarious that his tweet got flagged.
I mean,
just-
I was
I
I was
love
on
it.
Twitter last night, and this was when Anonymous supposedly leaked out all the information about Donald Trump and Epstein, and everyone was calling him like a child molester and a pedo, right? And you can see the court documents. I don't know if they're fabricated or they're real, but the court documents clearly like describe and say that Donald Trump was like touching a 13-year-old kid, right? So I go on Donald Trump's Twitter, and I'm looking at his recent tweets, and he's just spamming fake news. But that's clearly the truth. If he's spamming that and he's affected by it, he wouldn't not retaliate, right? So
I mean, some of the other
shows
people,
the truth.
some of the other people that were apparently on those documents that are like involved in child trafficking really surprised me. Like one name that really stuck out to me was Beyonce.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know whether the list, like the phone book or whatever I've seen, I don't know whether it's like sort of those are the people that were like involved in like molesting children or whatever. I think those are like just like he was rich, he was super rich, he was involved in those sort of groups, he was friends with like people on both sides politically, like you've got Donald Trump and then you've got the Clintons. Like I think it's just a general list, like he had contacts with famous people. That's what how I see it. I can't imagine like a lot of the celebrities I've seen, like I've seen Will Smith and stuff like that. I can't imagine that those are the type of people who like in their free time, fly to an island just to have sex with kids.
We don't know all of them
Smith
personally,
was on the directory.
Will Smith is on the phone book, I believe. I might be wrong, but I've seen like 5 different screenshots of people saying like he's on the thing. I've seen like the actual screenshot of the list.
I don't believe
he's
it.
on there.
Bollocks.
No. I've seen him on the list, but if you say Beyonce's on there, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch, right?
Yeah,
because he's famous.
But I mean, that's just so crazy to even like think like who would make this.
I mean,
like,
yeah, but
like if they did it, like holy shit, this world's fucked. But if they didn't do it, who decided to make this list and like name these people?
Well, no, not even that. Like Epstein was like in those sort of circles, right? So him having their numbers wouldn't be too far like of a stretch, right? Because he knew a lot of famous people.
Oh,
so when you hang out in those sort of places, go to those sort of parties, you'd probably have those sort of people on that list.
Plus, when you're
right?
like really rich
Very
and famous, and you know something about someone, you have a lot of leverage over them. Does that make sense? So like, say, like for example, I'm Donald Trump, and I know someone famous as fuck, right? And I know something bad they've done. You can use that as leverage, and you can force them to do something else. So I think there's a lot of blackmailing going on in like higher end class people.
I mean, Epstein didn't kill himself, right?
I think
that's
he got
that's what it's all about, right?
He got assassinated.
Yeah, he knew too much. I mean, he is like, had he stayed alive, had he been alive to be interrogated or cross-examined or whatever he was gonna have happen, he would have he has a lot of knowledge.
He probably would have squealed like a little piggy. He probably would have ratted everyone out.
Yeah, all of the deep dark secrets, and they obviously it was too much, so people theorized that he was killed, and it doesn't seem too far. Like it's not a massive stretch from reality to think that it's possible. I mean, you've seen stuff like this happen before. People get killed off all the time for shit like this.
And it's funny because like the elites think that the public don't see this like clearly. And they just choose.
The thing is, not like the public can't do shit. We can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, we're just now starting to rebel after how many years of corruption, and I mean, yeah, there's been riots before, but it's never been to this scale. And part of me believes that this goes past just the oppression of black people, and that is the main cause, and that is what I believe. But I feel like there's a lot of pent up rage right now from Americans of just getting treated like absolute dog shit. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of this anger come from as well.
I mean, I agree, but there's a lot of also like white supremacy that are going into the protests on purpose to make black people look bad, and I think that's like completely wrong. I don't know if you guys have saw videos on that, but
I mean, there are all types of groups doing that, like Antifa.
Yeah.
They're another like super far left like group. Stands for anti-fascist, obviously. They've been going in and like smashing tiles on the floor or whatever, or like making it so that there are more things to like throw at the police or whatever. And they seem to be inciting a lot of the violence. Like they're very radical.
I don't know if you guys saw that they've actually just been named a terrorist organization in the US.
I mean, I'm pretty sure one of them almost tried to bomb like something, like a research center or something somewhere. I don't know whether that's like, I know that that's true, but I don't know where. Like one of them was like arrested or whatever, or shot dead because he was like literally like putting explosives next to a massive building or whatever.
That's Jesus Christ, man. What is...
How do they even identify these groups like white supremacists and Antifa and stuff? Because isn't everyone basically doing the same thing?
Well, Antifa's like a literal, like, I think you have to claim Antifa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing.
Like, I'm sure that
like,
you claim that's what you are and that's what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's a literal, like, thing. Whereas white supremacists, like, there are groups of white supremacists. Like, if you're part of, like, a nationalist group, I'm sure you could probably, like, that would be an actual thing that you'd have to claim. But, like, in general, like, to find a white supremacist, I mean, you can pretty easily tell.
Yeah.
Usually from what people say, what kind of bullshit they spout, and they're probably on that side of things.
Yeah. And I mean, back to the topic of like different groups interfering with these protests and turning some of these peaceful protests into violent ones. What do you guys think about, you know, the white cop in Minneapolis who got caught breaking windows to incite looting from the crowds? What do you guys think of that?
I mean, I think if he was
Not
doing
shocked.
it to support the protests, then that's completely fine. I think, but if he was doing it to like add more fuel to the fire and make the protests look bad.
He was.
Okay,
he was.
well,
Yeah,
then
no,
this is
there's,
like
there's
police
no
tactic
question
that
that
they
he
used.
wasn't with the cause because he was just by himself. He was very quiet, non-vocal.
Okay.
Just walks over with a hammer, smashes it, and just he walks away.
Okay, well, yeah, then he's a piece
this
of
is a
shit
police
then.
tactic.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, this is a well-known tactic used by police during some of these protests and riots.
Yeah, don't they go undercover and stuff and like pretend to be like protesters and looters, and they just end up catching everyone? I'm
Yes,
pretty sure
but
that's the thing.
people have been posting a lot of pictures of this, and it's kind of easy to tell
Okay.
who a cop would be. Like in one of the cities, I forget which one it was. Like every cop that night was wearing matching armbands.
Yeah.
Like white ones.
They were
I think I know what
They
you're
were wearing
talking
a
about
white
now.
armband and blue a wristband, and that's
Okay.
how they knew. And you could actually see his handcuffs like coming out from the bottom of his shirt, and you could see the outline of his bulletproof vest.
Really?
Yes, like he was an undercover in civilian clothing, out there with the protesters and rioters. And he
See,
was
it's
just
not really
blending in.
undercover then, right? Like, if people are like can see it so obviously, then they're not really doing a good job.
Well, you couldn't see it during the protest. Like a lot of the what I'm seeing people finding this out are people who are like taking images, like still images,
Yeah.
and like sort of like
Oh,
analyzing
okay.
them and seeing like
Okay.
whether they
Yeah,
have the
that makes
armbands or
sense.
like checking their faces. Because during the like that's why they're able to do this,
Yeah.
right? Because people are like, so, oh my god, what's going on? Like, let's riot, let's like protest, whatever. That they won't like pay attention to the small details, and you can go pretty much like unseen in these sort of things, and then you can cause trouble and sort of like dip out in the madness.
Yeah,
So.
because think about it. If you're surrounded by 10,000 very very pissed off people, and everybody's loud and just moving fast and quick to different places and going in and out of businesses and stores and whatever, you're not going to be able to notice the people that are trying their best to blend in.
Yeah, it's all amidst chaos, I guess.
And apparent from what I've heard, they actually switch up the color of the armbands and all that like every different day, so that they don't get found out.
So,
But what do you do about those people? That's the thing. Like, what do you do about them? You see them doing that shit. You notice that they're undercover. What can
I
you
guess
do?
you can test them, see how far they'll go.
Yeah, but what can you do? You can't remove that. Like, they're police officers,
Yeah.
right? You put a hand on a police officer. Good lord, you're in for trouble. Like, what can you do?
You can't do anything. I
kick
think
'em
the
out?
only
I
thing you
would
can
say
do
the
is stay
best-
away from them.
Yeah, I would say the best thing to do is to just cast them out from the
Yeah.
group.
Stay away.
Like out them, call them out on it, and they'll probably be so scared shitless that they'll probably go away anyway.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
How do you guys think this is all gonna end? Like, do you think this is just gonna continue for like a couple more weeks, die off, no change, or do you think this is gonna, get bigger and bigger, and hopefully we see some, like, we see some change here? What do you guys think?
Man,
Um,
with how 2020.
I mean, there were Republicans in office. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go on with your point.
I mean, there are Republicans in office,
Yeah.
right? I mean, whatever change you think will happen, at the end of the day, Donald Trump's still in office. Like, that is what it is, ultimately. And it's going to have to go through whatever the fuck it has to go through. And I'm pretty sure, like, what is it? There's the House and the, what is it? The House, Clem? Do you know what it is, the other one?
The House and
There's the House, and then there's something else,
the
right?
Senate?
House and
Yeah.
Senate, right? And one has control of one, and the other side has control of the other. Like there is no like sort of unilateral shit here. There's no like one unifying like belief system. This is sort of both sides believe in different shit,
Okay,
and
so the system
in order
is
to pass
broken,
laws and stuff,
basically.
you'll need agreement from both
Yeah,
sides.
I mean, and
one side won't agree with the other.
the two-party system is well known to not work very well.
Yeah, because
I mean,
if they're both
look at
against
how we're
each other's
turning out.
points and policies, then what's the point? You know, I don't see any point.
At some points, it kind of feels like neither side wants to admit when they're wrong, or when they
Yeah.
had a bad idea, or if the other opposing side has a good idea. It's all come down to, I mean, they're like a fucking gang. It's like the Democrats versus the Republicans, and it's kind of like they've pushed the American people aside.
I mean, that's the same thing they did with the coronavirus. People stopped really caring about whether like what they were going to do in so far as like regulating people's like, I guess, quote unquote freedom. Like they wouldn't decide based on like what is right and wrong, what is good for the people, what is greatest for the health of their state or city or whatever they're part of. They think of what is like most politically viable. What can I do that is correct but will also keep me in office? And like that would usually probably take more of a hold over like actually what's right. Like it's all a massive game, right? I mean, you have to stay in office. That's pretty much the game that you're playing.
Basically, so you appeal to those people who are diehard Democrats and diehard Republicans, and that's usually more of like the older crowd in America.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the newer, like the younger people, they kind of don't really want there to be a two-party system, but there are still a couple of young people who are kind of raised into it to believe that you're either a Democrat or a Republican.
Yeah.
So they kind of like continue the cycle even in my generation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I never understood, like, that's one thing I never understood about politics, like the two-party system. It's just, if it's proved to not work, I don't know why they're so ignorant about calling that out, and
And the
trying
thing
to
is
fix
that
it.
even during, when you go to vote, you can vote for people that aren't, Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah,
So-
but
so,
then they'll never
It's an
win,
option,
though.
but it's they don't get the same.
I mean, same over here in the
attention.
UK. Like, you can vote for Labour or Conservative, or you can vote for other
I mean,
parties, but they'll never get the attention. They'll never get
that.
the
I mean, people
numbers.
generally believe that it's like, oh yeah, well you vote for like you vote for one side or the other because like an independent is like sort of a dead vote. Like you just vote it and it goes nowhere. But like everyone thinks that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like it's really simple. It's as simple as not thinking like that, right? It's that simple. Just go and vote for an independent if you see one that suits your fancy. It's that simple, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to worry
during,
about what
uh,
everyone else is voting for, Like, you don't have to do what everyone else is doing, just how you
Sure,
feel,
no.
Yeah, I mean during Trump versus Hillary, when I went to go vote, I didn't vote for either of them. I voted independent, and I voted for the person I believed in, and I was still told that I basically threw my vote out. Like people told me that you wasted your vote.
I mean, I don't think it's a waste.
that-
If that's what you truly believe, then that's not a waste,
Yeah, I didn't want to vote for.
I mean,
either of
people
them.
just need to stop thinking like that. I mean, it's so simple. It's just don't vote. Like, vote for an independent if you want to. There needs to be more of a push on like getting people to just do that. Like, vote for a party like whether it's like the Libertarian Party or some shit like that. Whatever you believe in, vote for that one. You don't have to vote on two sides because there will be other parties, other like candidates who do suit you better than the two, like the Democrat or Republicans. A lot of people sort of settle
Yeah.
just because they get told, like Clem got told, that it's a dead vote when it's not. Like, if everybody starts like freeing their minds from that whole, oh, it's a dead vote if you vote in the middle shit, like it will change. It won't be a two-party system anymore, right? It will be whatever you vote for. It will be whatever the people want to
Yeah.
vote for. But right now people are just kind
There's
of
a lot of
trapped.
stigma around it. There's a lot of
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, as much as the Republicans and Democrats don't get along, I guarantee that I don't believe that Republicans want the country to all be Republicans, because that kind of like goes against the whole like divide and conquer ideals that I believe that they have.
I mean, the way I see it in like America is that the Republicans are like far right people and the Democrats are far left, right?
Well, yeah, that's the basic concept of it. for
But
sure.
why can't they
mean, that's
just
the
come
problem.
together, like look at every view that they disagree on and
They
find a
can't,
neutral?
and that's the problem with the two-party
Yeah.
system. because a lot of people like it is a case of like the left will go far left, the right will go whatever, like far right, and then the like sort of the people in the middle sort of have to pick between them, and a lot of people feel disenfranchised from like
But
whatever party
what-
they're in because they believe that they've gone too far one way. If there were more like options, or people felt like their vote would count if they voted for other parties, this wouldn't be an
Yeah.
issue. People would be able to vote for who like they feel represents them. But right now people are just having to pick sides.
Yeah. I
Why
mean,
can't
you kinda-
people
you kinda
just
have
like
to
look
pick
at the
between-
big picture and just see like what the best outcome is overall? Like, not regarding in what party you choose, but like say you have a certain policy, right? And one party believes that it should happen like this, another party believes it should happen like that. But if you look at it as a collective overall, what would be the best outcome? Why doesn't the system work like that? Why does it have to be it's either this or that? Not like any
'Cause
compromise.
people have different desired outcomes, like best outcomes.
And they
Some
don't
people
have
may
very
think
much
one's the-
leeway of wanting to like give in like any inches towards their opposition, or
Yeah.
like anybody who's opposing.
And this goes
their
on both
views.
sides.
So it's
Yeah,
like
and
a
this is like a
competition
both side
basically.
issue.
The country is competing
Mhm.
with itself in its own government.
Yeah.
Where
I think that's a pretty good way to word it.
yeah, where I personally think it shouldn't be like that. I think it should just be like one party, one system, one leader. Well, that's kind of like a dictatorship, though, to be honest.
Yeah, you're starting to
Yeah.
sound like
Yeah,
you're starting
Okay,
to sound
maybe-
like
I
a
think there should
maybe
be
I'll take that
there
out.
should be one supreme leader. that
I'm just gonna go to North
reigns
Korea and
over the
live there.
country, and then their kids take over and shit like that. Is that what you believe?
Nah, I don't know what I believe. I'm not really like clued up that much on politics, so I can't really say anything. But that's just my opinion,
Well, I will say that the closest thing that the Democrats and Republicans have gotten to, like, even closely remotely, like, working together on, is, like, that whole thing with, like, when the epidemic started and they, like, gave us all those stimulus checks and, they gave small businesses, like, grants and shit like that.
Yeah.
But even then, like, they had to, like the Democrats wanted us to have the stimulus checks, but then the Republicans were like, well, if you want to give the citizens these checks, then you have to give us something in return, like a change in like policy for something. I forget which one it was, but it was like really stupid, and it had nothing to do with the epidemic going on. But that was a law that got changed in America.
Right, they have to push things through. I mean, it seems like both sides are just as unwilling as the other to sort of give way at
Yeah.
all, sort of come to an agreement, and that's just how it is. They want to appeal to like their major voting crowd or whatever, and a lot of the time, like if they go, oh okay, we'll do this then, or okay, let's compromise, like a lot of people aren't clued up enough to know that it's just sort of something that you have to do, and they'll like become enraged, right, and then they'll start getting pissed off and they won't get the votes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say, man, about that topic.
I mean,
Okay.
I wanted to ask a question. What do you think? What impact do you think coronavirus is going to have with the current protests going on? Like, do you think it's going to increase more? Do you think people are going do you think more deaths are going to come from this?
I mean, there has to be.
Yeah, I think
If-
guaranteed
yeah.
that we have extended our quarantine by at least a month with this.
I think more than that, bro. I
And yeah,
think at
and
least
I-
like
More
two,
than a
three
month,
and a
like, in
month
certain
and a month
areas,
is
yeah.
wishful thinking for me.
Yeah. Do you think people are
I mean,
thinking
the thing
about
is-
it? Like, do you think people know? Like,
I think it's bigger than
Mm.
that. Like that's the thing. Like people sort of forgot because of how bad it
Yeah.
was. Like the video and stuff, people are that enraged, and they're so starting to get clued up on this to the point where like they're enraged. They don't really
Yeah.
care. Like I see a lot of people wearing masks and shit, but at the end of the day, in a lot of cases, they take their masks off to like speak
I
or
don't
whatever.
think the mask is
or to
going to
do
make
whatever.
any
It
impact on
won't-
the protest.
Yeah, well, like the amount of cases should go up, but the good thing, or at least as good as it can get from like the in terms of like the people affected, is that a lot of the people protesting are fairly young.
Yeah.
Like these aren't like a lot of old
Yeah,
people.
but they're gonna go
doing
back
it,
home
right?
and
These
give
are
it to like their elders
Yeah, of
and
course,
their
of course.
grandparents, and then they're gonna have to live
Sure,
with the virus.
But at least the people who are like actually that, like it won't be a case where all these people are infected and there's gonna be like a fucking like 30% death
Yeah.
rate. Like it won't be that
Okay.
bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, our infection numbers will go up, and obviously, more people are going to die from coronavirus.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think people, realize that fighting for freedom is more important than
Of
that.
course,
Mhm.
I agree. I mean, people have already got killed over this already, right? Like, over George Floyd's death. Like, people have had their... I mean, I think he told me yesterday, he claimed that someone had his eye ruptured. That
That
was
was
you?
me.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
told you.
So
I saw
someone
the
had-
picture. I saw the
Yeah.
picture.
I saw him on Twitter. He I think he's had his surgery now. He said yeah, he lost his eye.
It's crazy,
But
man.
But he said afterwards, he said, but it's nothing compared to what African Americans
Yeah,
have faced,
It's very true.
and I appreciate that like so much. Like he like he really was about it, right? He lost his eye, like that's one eye gone. Like you can't get that back. You can't grow a new
Yeah.
eye, right? It's your sight
He has
like
to live
gone
with that
in
forever.
one eye now.
And he still
Yeah.
stands
Yeah,
with
and
the
he
movement.
was
and
so-
he said that the movement was
Yeah, he
bigger
was
than
so
that.
nice
I mean,
about
that's
it.
so that's
Mhm.
so noble in
Yeah.
every
It is.
sense of the word.
I agree. And
Mhm.
he's probably going to have a really cool looking eye patch. Yeah.
Hope so.
Kudos
Hope
to
we
him.
do.
I hope he gets the best eye patch that money can buy.
A LV eye patch, bro.
Maybe we should start a
See-
GoFundMe for this man and get him like a diamond encrusted eye
Yeah.
patch.
I think he put his link underneath, I believe, or something. Like I don't know, but if he did or didn't, it needs
I mean,
to
we
happen.
can put his
'cause
Twitter
he
at the
really put
description
himself
of
out
this
there.
podcast. You know, if people want to support him, we can shout him out. But yeah, I mean,
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, he's really like put himself out, and a lot of people are. I'm seeing a lot of like even a member of if you know David Dobrik, his
Yeah.
vlog squad. He had somebody called Jeff, who from the start he's like a fairly like he's like a 6'1" or whatever he is, like sort of like handsome white dude, right, a Hollywood
Yeah.
boy. And from the front you think, oh yeah, dude, well this guy's sort of like he wouldn't really get involved in any of this shit, but he's out there and he's like standing up sort of in the front, like getting hit by the rubber bullets. And he said like like he showed a video of the damage it left in
Yeah.
him, like on his back or whatever. And he was sort of like he put underneath something like if you're white, remember to stand in front or something like that. Massive
that is
respect.
big respect. I mean, I praise people so much that are actually protecting the black people in this movement. The white people, I mean, like, I respect them so much. The people that are standing in front of the black people.
Yeah, I
Just,
do.
like,
That being
shielding
said,
them.
That's
don't-
crazy. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that is so amazing. Like that we are finally, like, we have this white privilege. I am white. There's no, like, you're not gonna look at me and think that I'm anything but white.
Yeah.
I'm just your basic average white guy, and I think it's so
Mhm.
awesome that now we can finally use our white privilege
I mean,
to
I agree.
speak out and act out and be as a shield
I
to the
think
black community.
I think it's the first step of change, to be honest. I hope it is. I hope stuff actually changes around there. I mean, I'm not an American. I'm not black. I don't know, like, anything about America. Well, I do, but, like, I'm not involved in this. But I really hope there is change in the system and the way stuff works over there.
I mean, it's well overdue. I mean, I'm like I don't know how many generations, I can't bother to do the math, but since like African American slavery, like from that started all the way to now, and it's still sort of going on. We're still sort of having to fight for like basic rights to not get fucking like executed in the street and shit like that, and to be treated like sort of the white people and pretty much every other group is treated, minus like sort of like obviously LGBT people and like Hispanic groups. Like a lot of other people are like treated exceptionally in America, and we're just sort of asking like for at least equal footing.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's human, right? We should all get treated the same, like, regardless of the color of our skin. That's just how it
And
should be.
I think it's just a fight that has to keep on persisting. And I mean, the black community has come very far in
Yeah.
the past 200 years, but we can't settle here.
Yeah,
We
I
have
mean,
to- we
it's
have to keep
definitely not
pushing for them.
equal. But I mean, we've seen evidence that it's not equal yet.
Yeah, no, we're not at equality yet.
Yeah.
And as many with as many people who do believe that they are equal, we still have people in power who don't exactly feel the same way.
I mean, people in power are just fucked up in general. Like, there's some, like, politicians that believe in, like, child soldiers and shit in America. And, like, arming kids. I mean, we can talk
Wait,
talk
what?
about this next podcast, but I think one of the senators of America, like, someone interviewed him talking about, like, having third graders hold weapons to kill bad people and stuff. I forgot who it was.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about that because I've not heard about that.
I mean, we're gonna have to fact check it first, right? To find out that.
I
it's
mean,
actually
you
true.
know, Sacha Baron Cohen. You know how he like goes in disguise and like he had this thing called Who Is America, right, where he interviews politicians and shit. And
Was this ages
this
ago?
was around 2 years ago, and he interviewed someone important, like, and he was basically saying, "Yeah, I agree with you. We need child soldiers and shit."
So you're saying that a senator
Yeah,
of the United States
yeah,
believes that we should have a child militia?
yes.
Uh-huh. This is really shaping up to be a movie. When America's all said and done and it's been blown out of the fucking
I wish I was joking
off
with
the
you
map,
guys, but
and somebody makes a movie about America, it's gonna be a fucking movie. It's got like more than a movie. It's going to be the greatest film ever. I mean, there's so much.
mean,
like, holy shit, it'll be
if
400 parts.
if the human race eventually like evolves to be more intelligent in the next like 200 to 300 years, imagine how they're gonna look back on us. Like, imagine how they're gonna
Honestly.
look back on everything that has happened. You know, we got people, you know, during a pandemic still going out to the beach. We have people fighting over fucking toilet paper,
yeah,
and we have people killing people just because their skin color is different. It is absolutely
it's crazy.
It's bonkers.
Well, so I'd like to say just one thing, and I'm not endorsing like beating up random folks. Obviously, I'm against that. But if you're sitting there saying, "I'll stop burning buildings," like, "Oh, you should be peaceful protesting," especially like Trump is doing when the looting starts, the shooting starts, like these are the type of people who bitched when it was a simple kneeling at the anthem in the NFL.
yeah, it's crazy.
Like when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, Trump essentially got him fired. I mean, he's blacklisted from the NFL pretty much, or he was.
Yeah, I mean, we tried peace.
You didn't like it peaceful. Yeah, you didn't like it peaceful. So like, take this.
Oh,
That's it.
here we
That's all
go. I
have to say on
found the people that said that stuff about the child soldiers. So it was the former Senate Republican leader Trent Lott, former Congressman Joe Walsh.
Former.
Yeah, he was a congressman, and they basically saying that they made the instructional video that introduces specially selected children from 12 to 4 years old to pistols, semi-automatics, and rudimentary knowledge of mortars in less than a month.
What party was he affiliated with?
A Republican, I think.
Of course.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
You know, that doesn't surprise me.
I am amazed.
I mean, that's like the kind of people that are leaders in America. Like, it's just shocking, you know? It's scary.
It doesn't shock me. No.
Yeah.
I've lived here all my life. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't shock me. I have Donald Trump as my goddamn president.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for
Nothing
you,
will
man.
surprise me at this point. You know, people were talking about, you know, other celebrities becoming president. I'm just like, oh, we had a chance for Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie
We
was
had a chance.
He was a good candidate, but unfortunately, didn't he drop out?
I mean, this is.
Well, he
pretty much.
Well, he had a chance to be the one who went against Donald Trump, but instead it was Hillary
But
Clinton.
he pretty much, yeah. He
shit.
pretty much knew that it was like defeated, so he gave his endorsement to Biden.
Yes.
Okay.
The issue is people were saying for so long, we don't want politicians, we want real people. This isn't what we meant, because not only is he not a real person, he gets a loan of $1 million from his father. That's not normal.
Yeah,
But he's also
I mean,
like sort of a racist
he's
piece
kind
of
of like
shit.
a larger than life kind of person. Like he's not like he's a person obviously, but he's not like he's never had to go through it.
He's not fit to be a president, man. That guy's a businessman. He's a racist businessman and a paedophile.
If he's not racist, he's sure as hell almost there. I mean, he's like he's a stop away from racist if he's not one. Like this is shambolic.
Like maybe he's not.
I don't even want to
maybe he's
say.
not blatantly racist, and maybe he doesn't even know that he's racist. But maybe
there's
his,
a possibility
maybe his
he's
ideals,
not.
maybe his
believe that he's
ideals
that
are just
stupid.
maybe his ideals are just so cooked into his personality at this point that he just thinks that this is just the way that we should think.
I feel like when you become a politician, you sign something that makes you corrupt or something, man. Because like there can't be all these politicians that can't make a change, right? like positively. Like if you think about it, every politician that we've listened to has some sort of lie embedded in what they're saying.
Well, it becomes a game.
Yeah.
Like we've been over, it becomes a game. Like once you become a politician, like you think, oh, I'm going to do all this change. But realistically, it then becomes a game, like sort of keeping the power that you've got,
Exactly. And
rather
going
than
against
like sort
other
of
people.
keeping to the
and-
promises.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think at this point Donald Trump will do anything to save his presidency for this upcoming election. And honestly,
I just hope he
I
doesn't
don't-
make matters worse.
I think that if he gets to serve another term, and then at the end of that next term, he basically says, "I was trolling you all the whole time," I think that would be the best thing in the world. Because he said in the 90s that Republicans are stupid and they will do whatever you tell them.
Yeah.
There's literally a video of him saying this.
I mean, it's true. Every politician's stupid, in my opinion.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? You cut
there
out.
might be like a little bit. Hello. Yeah, I was saying there might be like a few politicians that like actually have their head screwed on, but most of them are stupid.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of in every position.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different kinds of people in this world, and with so many
Yeah.
different ideals, and they were raised differently. And that's kind of like where we have this clashing of like trying to bring American culture to different places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I think I said what I wanted to say in this podcast.
Yeah, I think we smashed this.
think
Smashed
this
the
was
topic
good,
out
yeah.
the park, honestly. Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
I think that was good.
yeah, I will. Okay, well, who wants to do the outro?
Thank you everybody for tuning in to the Egotist Tuesdays. I hope you enjoyed our all of our links for our Discord and our Instagram will be down below. We're gonna shout out that guy on Twitter who lost his eye. I really think we should give him some money, get him that fucking nice ass diamond eye patch. Thank you so much for listening. And we're off.
Thank you guys.
Have a
Thank
good
you
one,
for
guys.
listening. Have a good one. Bye bye. Good shit. Good shit. Oh shit! I didn't stop recording.